and welcome to episode 118 of the Stress Knits podcast. My name is Stacy, also known as Stress Knits Yarn on Instagram and Stress Knits over on Ravelry. How are you doing? It is Monday, June 22nd, maybe? I think so, 22nd. Yes. Let's see, it is officially summer. I thought my hair was cute, but then I get on here and I see this happening, and I don't know what's going on. For those of you who are keeping track, I haven't had a haircut since July of last year, and my bangs are really the issue. But we're just going to deal with it. So if I play with my hair a lot, I am sorry, but I don't have bobby pins. Actually, I do. I have one. So, let's see. Can we make this at all acceptable? No, it's gonna have to do. Okay. We're done with the hair portion of the podcast. This is a knitting podcast, and I also talk about hand-dyed yarn because I am the dyer behind Stress Knits. Yes, and so it is officially summer. It has been threatening to rain for the past 2 days. It rained last night, but the rest of the week is supposed to thunderstorm occasionally, and it keeps looking like it's gonna rain, but it hasn't. So I have yarn drying outside on drying racks, so I'm very nervous about that. Yesterday I had my yarn in the garage with the door open, just in case I had to move it inside. I don't know. So I moved it out of the garage today because it's really sunny and kind of warm out. So we'll see how that goes. I am coming to you from Metro Detroit, Michigan. And yeah, I live here with my husband, Doug, our now 2-year-old daughter, Eliza, and our pug, Esther. I still can't believe she's 2. 2. How? Anyway, I've been putting this off because I wanted to finish what I'm wearing. And I'm so glad I did because I'm so excited to talk about this. But first, we're going to talk about the Let's Rift Knitalong, which ended yesterday. I just closed the FO thread, and I picked a winner from the Chatter thread and the FO thread. I'm super excited to share that with you. So we did a Knitalong that started the first day of spring and went through the first day of summer plus a day. And it was so much fun. So many of you joined in. I'm so glad you all love the pattern as much as I do. Some of you this was your second or third. Some of you are going to knit a second or third because you just love it that much. I know I will be knitting another one. I'm obsessed with this. Usually when I put on a sweater for the podcast, unless it's winter, I usually take it off afterwards. But I feel like I'm going to wear this most of the day unless we go out for a walk because I get really gross. So, I'm obsessed with it. So first, I want to announce the winners of the Let's Rift Knitalong. Thank you to everybody who participated. Thank you to everybody who was involved in Chatter, who posted photos on Instagram and shared your photos on Ravelry. It was just so much fun. I want to do this again. If you have any recommendations for a pattern we can all knit that is size inclusive, that would be really great. So look for something that goes up 60 plus for the largest finish size. That would be really great. Yes, so let's announce the winners. So first, let's do the Chatter thread. And when this happened, I audibly laughed out loud because I hope this is okay to share. But the winner is number 125, who is Florence. She is Flueberry on Ravelry. And some of you that are in the chatter thread know the story, but I'm going to share it here first, and I'm so happy. So Florence won, congratulations. I'm so glad you won. You won a mini set, but you can also do a full skein since it's the equivalent of yarn. So just message me on Ravelry and we will figure that out. But Florence, the reason I'm so happy that she won this is that she ordered yarn for the Rift, and she lives in Canada, and it was supposed to arrive. She checked her tracking. It was in Russia. Canada and Russia are pretty far apart. Yeah, and it hasn't moved since. So, like, I've since refunded and done all of that stuff, but it's just one of those weird flukes that happens occasionally with the postal service. And it was just so funny because we're like, Russia, because the package went, so I'm in Michigan and she's in Canada, and she's close to me in Canada. So she's in, like, right across the bridge, like, not far at all. And it went south to Miami, and her and I were like, that's weird, but, you know, stuff kind of takes roundabout ways sometimes. And then it ended up in Russia. So I'm so happy you won, Florence. Message me on Ravelry, Stress Knits, and we will figure out, let me know what you want, and I will make it happen. And then the winner of the FO thread, so chatter was 2 through 148, and she was number 125. Can you tell that I don't host Knitalongs very often? And then the winner for the finished objects, the numbers were 2 through 39, and number 37 won, who is Jane Narrow. I think that's how you pronounce it, but it is Jaina. She is from New Zealand, which is really cool. So we've got some international packages to send out. So Jaina has won a sweater quantity of Stress Knits yarn in her colorway choice on either my favorite base or my singles base. And I am so excited to see what you pick, Jaina. She knit her Rift. She did a long sleeve version, and I think this was her second Rift. And she knit it in Stress Knits yarn in my Cheeks colorway, which is a pink. That's kind of between, it's essentially the base of Grubby. That's what Cheeks is. So it's very similar to Eloise, but it's a little different. It's a little cooler. But yes, so Jaina, congratulations. Florence, congratulations. I cannot wait to have your messages on Ravelry so we can figure that out. So congratulations. And yes, thank you again to everybody who participated. So let's talk about the Rift. So I finished my Rift here. Let me stand up and show you. I am obsessed with this. I can't wait for Doug to get home so we can take better pictures of it. I don't know why I've waited because it's been hanging up in my room, and I took a picture of it hanging, but I didn't take one on my body, and I'm trying to get better about that. So I think we're going to take pictures sometime this week so I can post them. So I knit the size 56, pretty bang on gauge. So it has about 12 inches of positive ease, which I love. It's just like a nice boxy shape. There is this beautiful detail down the side, this twisted rib. There's a split hem. It's high-low, and it's just great. I did lengthen it by about 3 inches. I think the pattern calls for 8 or 9 inches, and I knit, I think the back is supposed to be 9 inches, and then the front is 8, and I knit to 11 on the front. Past the, not past the armhole, this is bottom up. So I knit the size 56 for 12 inches of positive ease. I got that. I knit this in DK on a US 9 needle. So I went up a needle size, and I also went up a size in yarn to get gauge. I know people got gauge on fingering, gauge on sport, gauge on DK, and gauge on worsted. It just kind of depends on your tension and your gauge. I was a little nervous that the DK weight was going to be a little heavy for a t-shirt, but I love it. I might be a little biased, but I love my DK base so much. It is just, there's enough weight to it to make it feel substantial, but it is it's soft, and it's just beautiful. I love my DK base. Not to toot my own horn, but I really, really love it. Yes, so The Rift by Jacqueline Cieslak. She loves when sleeves do this, which I agree. I think it's super cute. And in her interview with Christy Glass, which is amazing and I highly recommend, I'll link it below if I remember. Below are all the show notes, by the way. But she mentions that she loves this little like flip out of a t-shirt sleeve, but it's really hard to find that for bigger bodies. And so she wanted to design that. And I just love it so much. So I'm trying to think of any other modifications I did besides length. I didn't. I knit the pattern as is. Just added a little length. It took me a little bit to pick up correctly. I'm horrible at picking up stitches, and you have to pick up stitches for the sleeve and for the neckband. I did the crew neck. This is what it looks like. Did the crew neck, boat neck. It's called a boat neck. So it's a little wider. I was a little nervous that the neck was going to be super wide, and I also just did a regular bind off, which stressed me out a little bit. I didn't know if it would be tight enough, and like there's not a lot of give to it, but the boat neck is wide enough that it doesn't bother me. Like, it feels very comfortable. It feels like a t-shirt. I cannot sing the praises of this pattern enough. I'm for sure going to knit another one. I love the size that I knit. I love everything about it. I highly recommend this pattern. Like, I could not recommend this pattern enough. I could sing about it. I love it so much. Yes, so Jacqueline, who will never watch this, but thank you for knitting and creating just such a beautiful pattern that is size inclusive and is customizable to everybody. It's just, it is just the best pattern. Yes, so I love it. The Rift, Jacqueline Cieslak, it's the greatest. And if you don't want to knit sleeves, you don't have to knit sleeves, which is so great. I don't mind Sleeve Island, but right now I'm knitting sleeves on a sweater, and it was just really nice to knit this 1 inch of rib. So yeah, that is the Rift, and that's the last time I'm going to talk about it. I love it so much. I'm so glad I ripped out my other one and knit this one. Oh, I used Stress Knits DK and the No Trail to Follow colorway. It is a light mint green with dark gray speckles. And that's what it looks like. And I had to break into my 4th skein, which was a little annoying, but I'm going to use the 4th skein for like a hat or something. Yes, so let's get into works in progress. I have 2 that I'm working on, but I'm only going to talk about one because the other one looks the exact same. So this is the Throwover by Andrea Mowry. I'm in the middle of a sleeve row, so let me knit to the end of this. If you were curious about how I knit, this is how I knit. I am a flicker. I almost said flinger. It's not the word. And 1. Okay. So, I'm almost done with this sweater. I will be wearing it next episode, which is so exciting. And it fits so well. Y'all, my sweaters have been fitting so much better since I've been swatching. It's like math matters or something. Yes, so this is my Throwover by Andrea Mowry. I have finished the body, and I have finished one sleeve, and I have like 6 more rows and ribbing to go on the second sleeve. Sorry if you hear that, it's garbage day. Yes, so I am using Stress Knits yarn in, that's so loud. And Esther's gonna go crazy because she hates trucks. Okay. I'm using Stress Knits Worsted in the Sunflower colorway is my main color. And then the contrast colors are Palm Lines, Eloise, and Pillow Mint. And I just love it. It is so cute. I alternated skeins on the body. I did not alternate skeins on the sleeves, and it worked out fine. Yes, I cannot wait to wear this. I tried this on for Doug 2 days ago, and he's obsessed with it, and I am too. So I'm really glad it fits. This is the size 46, and it's giving me 2 to 4 inches of positive ease, somewhere in there. Yeah, because my bust measurement is fluctuating a lot, so I don't really know what I am at the moment. Yes. Oh, I love it so much. I could hold up the sweater all day. I'm so proud of it. And again, I'm going to give her credit every time I mention this because I picked this color palette because of Laura, who is Tiny Human Knits on Instagram. She picked a color palette very similar to this for hers, and I saw it and I was like, yep, that's my color palette as well. So all credit for these colors to her. I think she used O Wool, which I also love, but I wanted to do it in Stress Knits. Oh, yes. I love it. Do you love it? Because I love it. The Throwover by Andrea Mowry, and I also had to go up a needle size for this as well. I'm using a US 9 again. A US 9 is kind of my sweet spot with DK and worsted right now. Don't know why. I just swatched for another sweater that I'm casting on, I'll talk about in a second, and I have to use a 9 as well. I went up to a US 10 for the color work, and it is perfect. Yes, Throwover, Andrea Mowry. Another pattern that I highly recommend. Yeah, this is Sunflower. A colorway I'm super proud of. I do want to address something with my Throwover. So, a lot of you have been asking for kits. I did do a pre-order for kits. I actually just packed up the last few kits today, and they will be going in the mail today or tomorrow, depending on when Doug gets home from work and I can have a car and go. Yes, so people have been asking if I'm going to put up another round of pre-orders, and I am not. So the whole reason I'm not is because Sunflower is a beautiful colorway. I love it. I'm going to continue to dye it, but I will never do a pre-order for it again. It is really difficult to get dye lots to match, and it was the cause of a lot of stress the past few weeks, and it's just not worth it until I figure something else out. But it is one of those that there's a lot of layers to it, and there's about 6 different layers to get it to its final stage. And it takes a really long time, and all of the dye lots are slightly different. So that is why I won't be doing pre-orders, because trying to find matching dye lots after you dye 100 skeins of it is really difficult. So that's why I'm not doing pre-orders for the Throwover, but I will be having Sunflower, Palm Lines, Eloise, and Pillow Mint regularly in the shop on worsted weight, so that if you want it, you'll be able to get it, and I will always make sure that there's enough for a few sweater quantities of Sunflower. So that is that, because I can take photos of each new dye lot, and that makes me feel less stressed because you know exactly what you're getting. So that's why. there will be no more pre-orders for the Throwover kit. So I'm sorry if that disappoints anybody, but there will be plenty of the yarn in the shop starting in July, in the second half of July. Yes, so let's talk about upcoming works in progress. So one thing that I did while I was dyeing yarn, I'm trying to get better about allowing myself to keep yarn from the shop. There are 3 colorways that I've really wanted to knit socks with recently. So I grabbed a skein out of what I've dyed. Yes, so I grabbed a skein of Ophelia on Favorite, Dancing on My Own on Favorite, and Dusk on Sparkle. What? Yes. Sparkle is coming back to the shop for a limited time because my mill is out of all of my bases. So I had enough Favorite to do, I think there's like 50 skeins of Favorite going to go in the shop in July. Yes, and it's all speckly. There are no semi-solids. Yes, so because I ran out of dye, this whole weekend has been interesting. I'll talk about it at the end though. So socks are in the future. I really want an entire sock wardrobe out of Stress Knits yarn, just because if I stop dyeing at some point, I'm not saying I'm stopping, I'm not saying that, but if I do end up stopping at one point, I just really want to have socks. So I caked up Dusk, and this will be my next sock whip. And I just love it so much. Oh, it's so pretty. Okay, so there is that, and then this. So I got chosen to take part in a super secret test knit that I can't talk about. I can't show you anything. I can't tell you who it's with. Can't tell you anything. So I swatched because I had worsted leftovers. I ripped it out immediately though because I want to use the worsted leftovers for a hat. So I also kind of used my Throwover as my gauge swatch. And so I'm knitting the sweater on US 9 needles when it calls for 7s, I think. Yes, so I was originally going to do my sweater in Perfectly Adequate, which is just my tonal midline gray, but I decided that I kind of wanted to show off a colorway that I haven't really shown off fully yet, and that is Eloise. And Eloise was my pink tonal from my 2019 advent calendar. I named it Eloise for 2 reasons. Eloise at the Plaza, the book, right? She loves pink, her room's pink, and anytime Doug and I are painting an accent wall in our room and it's going to be that color, and he keeps calling it Eloise pink, and I'm like, no, that's like a pink pink. This is a mature pink, like brownish pink. And he keeps calling it Eloise pink. So that's part of the reason. And then my favorite band, Penny and Sparrow, has a song called Eloise, and I love it a lot. So that's why it's called Eloise. Yes, in case you were wondering. But yes, I'm knitting a sweater out of Eloise on worsted. So that will be happening in the background. I won't be able to show it to you until November. Yes. So some projects will be taking a back seat, but I am also itching to get back to my pink velvet, and I've started knitting again on my Cozy Classic Raglan. So all of that will be popping up on the podcast next week, along with some socks. And yeah, I've also been buying some yarn, but I will share that next week. I wanted to keep this week a little bit short. So let's move into Stress Knits news. If you are not interested in my hand-dyed yarn, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to be here. You are welcome to just enjoy the knitting. So if it's not for you, I will say goodbye now, and I will see you next week. But if you are interested in stress knits and just general stuff, let's talk about it. So I mentioned that it's been a rough dyeing week. So this weekend, I dyed for 36 hours. It was a lot. I had 12-hour dye days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I am tired. Dyeing is a lot. It's a lot on your back, on your feet, on your knees, on your elbows, and your wrist. Like, it's just a lot because there's a lot of picking up heavy buckets of water and pans of water. It's very labor intensive, and 36 hours of it just in 3 days was a lot. But once I set up my kitchen, because I still dye in my kitchen, it's so hard to tear it down because so I started dyeing Friday night, or actually Friday afternoon. I set up when Eliza was going down for her nap, and then she never napped. So I was dyeing well into the evening, and it got to 1 in the morning, and I was like, Doug, I'm just going to leave it, and I'm going to go to bed, and I'm going to start tomorrow. And then I dyed all day Saturday, and my yarn shipment came in, which had worsted, single, squishy, and sparkle, and I was like, oh, I'm just going to keep dyeing. And then I ran out of dye. A lot of it. So there's some stuff that's on hold. I was originally setting up to dye pre-orders and mini skein kits for my Cautiously Curious colorway, which is still going on, by the way. It's Eliza's birthday colorway. We've raised almost $500 for March of Dimes and Black Mamas Matter Alliance, which is so exciting. I can't wait to make those donations in July 1st. So yes, the pre-order is going through July 1st. I also restocked mini kits, but I ran out of dye, so those will be shipping the second that they're dry. My dye is scheduled to get here the 29th, so a week from today. If you are in Metro Detroit, Michigan, I know there's a few of you, you will know the chaos that is Oak Park FedEx. So hopefully I do actually get it on the 29th. That's when it's scheduled. It's in Illinois, so I don't know why it's taking so long. But yes, FedEx has been rough. But, so that dye is coming, and then I ran out of more dye. So, I couldn't dye any more sunflower, or Where Does the Good Go, because those use the same dye. Yeah, so I ordered a bunch of dye from the 2 places that I get dyes, and those will be here soon. So I did everything that I could, everything that didn't require the dyes that I ran out of. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see what gets here. And then my mill, they are out of a bunch of bases because of COVID. Their supply chain has kind of broken down a little bit, and things won't be restocked until mid-July. So I will be having a much more traditional large update in August with Surrey Alpaca, my cloud base, DK, and Favorite. Those are 3 that are sold out right now. I did a little bit of Favorite. I'm going to do a lot of half Favorite skeins. So 50-gram skeins of Favorite. It's 200 yards. So that will be going into the shop for this update. Excuse me. Sparkle, single, squishy, worsted. So that'll be in July. Yeah, so that's really everything that's going on. Everything was kind of going wrong this weekend with dyeing, but everything is kind of mellowed out. I finished everything that I needed to finish, that I could finish, and I'm just waiting for things to dry so I can skein it up. I have one big bucket of yarn. This is Favorite and some Halo. So I will be sharing that with you closer to update time. yeah, I think that is it. So I wanted to keep this short, and I'm glad I did. I will talk to you next week. Bye.